I'd like to welcome you all back now to Beasley Coliseum, where the Washington State Cougar basketball team will be starting off their third home game of the season here in just about 5 minutes. I'm Norma Fulwiler on the call tonight with my partner, Davis Hagen. What do you think about the game? What looks promising to you, about this Cougar basketball team, after those first couple games that you saw?
Well, so far it's been a good start for David Riley, the head coach for the Washington State Cougars, coming over from Eastern Washington. It's been a 2-0 start to the season, and on last Monday they played Portland State. 192 win, first time since 2018 with 100 points in regulation, and then Friday night getting a good win against a solid Bradley team, 91-74. Monday night looked pretty rough. It was they gave up 92 points to Portland State, and coming back on Friday after a good week of practice and beating Bradley by almost 30 points, that's really impressive. I mean, they were up really big in that game, and to beat a good team like Bradley that early in the season after giving up so many points to Portland State really shows that this team is a good unit. And I'm interested to see tonight if that was one game off and if they're ready to go together, or if they are going to fall apart again and give up a bunch of points to a team that they should be beating by about 30 points.
Yeah, and we talked before the game, is this the improvement in performance against Bradley, is that a coaching thing, or is that just kind of a mending of these really young players? David Riley, again, came over from Eastern. He brought 4 of his starters from that Eagles basketball team. But just as a coach, he has an increasingly, impressive record. The 2022 Joby Hall Award finalist for Rookie D1 Coach of the Year at Eastern Washington, a Big Sky school. That's, quite the accolade for a smaller program. The 2022 and then 2023 Big Sky Coach of the Year, so back-to-back. And his first year as coach at Eastern was in 2021. So he was really able to turn that program around after 10 years being an assistant for that program in essentially 2 years before taking the job up at Washington State back in April. He also led the Eagles to 2 trips to the NCAA tournament, which has never happened for that program before in history. So, again, you talk about the coaching. I think it's probably a coaching thing. He said in a press conference we were talking about earlier in the year that he knows how to play one kind of basketball, and that's what he's going to stick to. And when they asked, are there going to be any serious coaching changes? He said, nope, I know one thing, and that's what I'm going to do.
Exactly.
So, but I also wouldn't discount Idaho because, like we talked about, you've got all these transfers coming in from Eastern, and they're used to playing Big Sky basketball. Idaho's a Big Sky team, so I wouldn't discount them quite yet, even though Washington State's a bigger program. These players are, fresh meat, as I'd say.
Yeah, well, one thing that's interesting is David Riley said that he was excited about the blend of players coming into this season, and that's been just that. It's been exciting. Yep. And so they're going to get their points. They scored 90 points in back-to-back games to start the season, and it should be no different tonight against an Idaho team that has struggled to defend, that has also struggled to shoot consistently. Yep. So it'll be a really exciting game, and Washington State just trying to mold into one unit has been kind of the struggle so far this season, but it looked really promising on Friday night, and it's only 2 games into this very, very young season. They were picked 5th in the WCC preseason poll, and so far they've looked really good. I think they've looked better than 5th in the WCC, and to be that good this early on is really promising for Washington State that made the tournament last year, and this team trying to replicate that, only 2 players coming back. So it's been and that's been the talk of the Palouse, is that this team is completely different than last year's team, but they've gotten off to the same start, if not better, than last year, already scoring 90 points in back-to-back games. And Idaho's a team where you can't overlook them because they are going to give you their best shot, especially with the border war, 279 Battle of the Border. So when a team like Idaho comes in, only 5-minute drive, they're going to give you their best shot, especially when it's Washington State and they think they have something to prove.
Yeah, and talk about those accolades for Idaho. I mean, they played UC Davis last week. A relatively consistent program. I don't want to discount them either. It was difficult for the Idaho offense to find rhythm late in that game. They ended up losing, but only by 4 points. And I would argue that's because some of their best players fouled out in the fourth quarter, Julius Mims and Kyson Rose. So, don't sell them short. And they outscored UC Davis 20-7. So I think, unfortunately, they just came up short last week, and they're ready for a win.
Yeah, the national anthem will be coming up shortly. We'll take a quick break and be back with the starting lineups in the game. So thank you for listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Blues.
We will welcome the starters out on to the floorboards now. We got starting in LaShawn Watts, the 6'6" sophomore from Fresno, California, and one of those transfers coming over from Eastern from that David Riley team. And he's been doing, successful this season, shooting about 46%, 40 from the three. Big Sky Freshman of the Year for 2023 and led the team with 61.2% from the free throw line, from the field. Ethan Price coming in. He's coming in, again, another transfer from Eastern. Coming in from England, St. Edmunds. Big Sky's second team all-conference and academic all-team with a career high of 25 points at Sacramento State. And he started in all 32 games at Eastern. Cedric Coward, another transfer from Eastern. I think he brought his starters with him. 6'6" senior, and again, an all-conference team for the Big Sky. He shot 89.5% with double-digit rebounds in 24 of his games at Eastern. So we've got some big dogs on the court for Washington State. Julius Mims, Tyler Myris, and Christian Gonzalez and Jack Payne. Some names we have coming out for Idaho. Seasoned players play well together. Again, there isn't any freshmen on this starting lineup for either team, so I'm expecting some rather well-played basketball.
Exactly. Yeah, both teams very veteran squads, especially the Eastern Washington transfers coming over to Washington State. All of them got a lot of playing time last year and have been the stars of the team so far through the first 2 games.
Yeah, Jaws now heading out, and crowd looks pretty good for a late night game here on a on a Monday Veterans Day game. Happy to see the turnout after no school. Maybe some dreary eyes in the crowd. Maybe took a nap today. Getting ready to start off. Hopefully, this should be kind of a shoe-in game for the Cougs. And, you know, we were kind of talking about earlier before the game started, one of those kind of building rapport games, a game to kind of put under their belt, see how they mesh as a team as we get ready for the tip-off. And it looks like Dane Erickstrup for Wazoo's heading up there. Excuse me, it looks like it's going to be Price for the Cougs. And then looks like a couple Vandals up there. Tyler Murris with the tip-off. Cougs in a huddle now. Idaho's going to be in the black with yellow lettering, and Wazoo in their home white uniforms. Any other, you know, things you want to mention, maybe defense before this game gets going?
Yeah, I think Washington State coming out in the man-to-man defense is probably my expectation because the talent level and the athleticism level should be higher than Idaho right now because last year Eastern Washington played Idaho twice, beat them twice with really no problems. And 4 of the 5 starters for Washington State are from Eastern Washington. The only other starter from the Huskies is Nate Calmes. And Isaiah Watts coming off the bench, also going to be interesting. He did it in the first 2 games, had a career high last Monday, had a good showing on Friday. Yet to get an assist this year. I'm looking for him to get some passes going instead of just shooting it himself. And Dane Erickstrup, to me, is the guy that needs to get locked in from shooting on the field because he's 8 for 22 this year. And that's just not a good statistically sound player, but he gets up a lot of shots and he scores a lot of points.
Price and Mims to tip off. And it'll head over to the Vandals as they take it across the logo. Yeah, and you're right. They're going to go on man-to-man here. And they'll pull it around the ring. Mims off to Payne. Over to Myris. Down onto the elbow. It'll pass it way over to the right side of 3. And it's good. Idaho puts 3 on the board to start this off. Nate Calmes. He'll hand it over to Eric Toff, over to Price. He'll swing it down to that left side of the court, back to Calmes. Looking for a screen, nothing there. He'll hand it over to the right. Price at that right elbow. Kick it over to Coward. He'll bring it up back over to Calmes. He'll drive down, kick out. Price, 3 no good. Rebounded by the Cougs, and it's ripped away by Payne for the Vandals. He'll kick it over to Mims. Up for the layup, and it's good. Vandals with an early 5-point lead.
Yeah, Julius Mims is the returning leading scorer for Idaho.
Yeah, that's going to be an aggressive drive from Calmes. Knocks down a Vandal, and that'll be a foul. And he'll send him, looks like a turnover with Jack Payne down at the paint under the basket there.
Yeah, Calmes just too strong, trucking over a player. And he had a really good game on Friday, second leading scorer. And he had 3 and 1, so he's a really aggressive player, and he got rewarded on Friday, but this time not so much.
Isaiah Brickner over to Payne at the left. Back, he'll dribble it down. Bounce pass there, blocked by Erickstrup. Back in Coug possession. They'll kick it out to Calmes with a 3, and they'll call a travel.
Yeah, back-to-back turnovers by Calmes, and he, again, just super aggressive, and sometimes he just loses where he's at on the court, and also just didn't dribble the ball, so that's never good.
He was ready for a 3. Jack Payne again. He'll kick it in from the far far sideline. Vandals in possession. They'll walk it across the Coug logo. Down to half court. Man-on-man D. Jack Payne looking for an option. He'll kick it left to Mims. Takes it over back at the top of the key. Looking for an option. High D takes the screen there. Drive down, step back, 3 attempt, and no good. Rebounded by the Vandals, by Brickner. He'll kick out to Myris for a 3, but I don't think they're going to count that one.
Yeah, as Phil was on the line, stepped out of bounds. He was in the corner. It gets really tight down there, and with those big shoes, he steps out of bounds.
Yeah, Tyler Myris sitting in at 6'7", the sophomore, transfer from University of Alaska Fairbanks. Coward Kicks over to Erikstrop. And then Price in the corner for a three, and it'll go around the orange ring. No good. Rebounded by the Vandals. They'll take it down the left side of the court. Looks for an option screen there. Takes a step back at the top of the key. Drives down, kicks back out. Myris in the right corner. He'll drive down looking for a layup. Bounce pass up to Mims, and it's dunked. Vandals 7-0. Looks like the ball there is lost control. Cougs get it back. And they'll kick it out to the right side there. Nate Calmace takes it down. Step back at the left elbow. Price down to Coward at the baseline. He's in the trees, and he'll put it up no good. Rebounded by the Vandals. They'll take it down again across the court. Still 7-0. Wide three. Airballed right into the hands of LaJawn Watts, the 6'6" redshirt sophomore, and a timeout is called by Washington State.
Didn't even make it to the media timeout before having to call their own.
Yeah.
And no points so far. 7-0 Idaho, 16:58 to go is not a good start.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Mondays are not good for Washington State. Last Monday against Portland State, it was 21-4 to start the game before Washington State started to claw their way back. But the Vandals have come out swinging, and they've thrown the first punch in this game.
Yep.
David Riley is screaming at the players to lock in because they have sort of walked around tonight. They have not looked in sync, and it could be playing down to their competition on Monday. They looked like they were playing down on Friday against Bradley, a good team. They came out super sound. Things were looking great. Defense was good. Offense was looking good. And tonight, the offense looks really interesting. They've had a lot of turnovers. No one looks comfortable wanting to shoot the ball. Things are going down. 0%, obviously, from the field from three with no points. But defense also just allowing some easy cutters to the rim. So everything needs to be worked on. And Riley probably with a good timeout.
Yeah, and the redshirt freshman, Colton Mitchell for Idaho, is kind of running this game right now, number 14, taking it right down the court. He's got lots of options open. This man-on-man seems to be tripping up the Cougs a little bit. Cal Mace over to Coward on the right sideline. He dribbles back, motions for a call. He's got nothing. He's D'd up in the trees. He'll kick it over to Watts. He's down in the paint. He'll kick it back out. Almost tipped off. Cal Mace with a three. Nothing. And they'll call that a Vandal possession.
Yeah, a foul on...
Yep.
No, he's changing his mind. So a foul on Mims with the hold. So he initially said it was going to be Idaho ball and then had to get everybody back down to this side of the court.
Yeah, and Mims has got to watch himself. Standing at 6'9", he's one of the tallest guys on this court. So holding's pretty easy when you've got elbows above everybody else's head. So Cal Mace will start now at the paint below the bucket, and he'll kick it out from this bottom side, or excuse me, this baseline.
Rose has checked in for Idaho. He played last year against the Cougars.
Rose looking for an option, nothing. He'll kick it out to Watts. Over to Price. Back to Coward on that left elbow. He'll drive down for a layup and he'll spin. Almost lost the ball there. 2-on-1. He'll kick it out to Watts for a three, and it's good. Cougars finally put some points on the board. 7-3 now.
Finally, a shot goes down for Washington State. It was a rocky start, and almost 4 minutes into the game, they get their first points.
Brickner drives down for a layup. Solo possession on the drive. He'll pull it up. Nothing. It's batted out of bounds by Idaho. Washington State possession there at their own baseline. Or excuse me, that's going to be it. Yeah, I'm not really sure what this ref's calling. It looks like, excuse me, an Idaho possession. They'll kick it out from their own baseline, and then another foul's called. Yeah, it looks like Watts might have pushed him out of bounds. Now it's going to be Tyler Myris pushing it back in. Over to the logo. He'll kick out to Payne. Pass right back over to that right shoulder. Hard drive in the trees. Wide open left shoulder, though. Rebounded by the Cougs, no good. Ethan Price will take it down across the court. Hand it back over to Watts. He'll kick it back to the left shoulder over to Coward at the base. Out of the paint. And, oh, goodness. An unfortunate error there by Dane Erikstrup, who we talked about earlier. against Portland State, 4 for 9, and then 4 for 13 against Bradley. He's making some unfortunate mistakes, and that was just one of those Butterfinger moments, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's not the first time that's happened this season either for Erickstrup or Price. They both seem to think before they actually have the ball that they can move, and when they do that, they lose their concentration, and the ball goes right through their hands. Erickstrup is a guy that we talked about at the beginning of the game, 8 for 22 on the season. And every time he catches the ball, he wants to shoot it. So before he catches it, he just starts to run. And that time just didn't look it into his hands. And it's been a really interesting start. Just 4 full minutes through this game. And Washington State only has 3 points. There's been more minutes than they have points. And that's never good, especially when, you score a bucket and that's worth 2 points. So the fact that they only have 3 through 4 minutes, it's a touchdown to a field goal at the moment, which... Good job for both teams to get some other sport action in here. But Idaho's done a really good job coming out and kind of being the aggressor, and Washington State's just kind of sitting back and watching him go. And on the defensive side, Washington State's just getting burnt, and then they're also giving up a lot of offensive rebounds. We saw last week against Portland State, they gave up a ton of offensive rebounds, and that was what David Riley said was we need to get better at offensive rebounds, and we need to block out, and we need to find people and get bodies into them. And they're just not doing that right now. And Idaho's getting a lot of extra possessions. It hasn't necessarily translated into a lot of points for Idaho, but they do have a 7-3 lead.
Yeah, and when you watch Idaho play defense, they've been great. And, like you said, a bucket's 2 points. Wazoo's only taken that 1 3-point shot. They're crashing down into that paint. Anytime any Cougar tries to drive in there for a layup, this is not happening. They're absolutely pushing all of their options out to that 3-point line and giving the Cougs nothing to work with on offense.
Yeah, Idaho's well aware that Washington State likes to start from the inside out. They like to drive into the cup and then kick it for 3, and they're just not letting that drive happen at the moment, and that's what's kind of discombobulating this offense.
Absolutely.
And they just need to get combobulated is all that needs to happen.
And, Wazoo's not even a bad 3-point shooting team. They average right around 50%. In terms of all their starters, and Idaho really doesn't shoot from the 3 at all. We've got 2 starters on their side of the court that haven't shot a 3 yet this season. So Wazoo has offensive weapons there. They just kind of have to figure out how to work when, they're in the trees, when they're 2-on-1 on defense, when they crash in off the screen. These tricks that I think Wazoo is used to putting up, they're just not working. Mitchell for the Vandals takes it down across the logo. D'd up. He'll kick it over to the top of the key. No options there. He'll dribble it down to Payne on that left elbow. Dribble drive, kicks it back out again. Off the screen, Payne again in possession. Drive down. No option there. Good defense from the Cougs. Payne at the top of the key. He'll kick it off, shoots up for a 3, no good. Rebounded again by Idaho. Another offensive rebound, finally picked up by Price for the Cougs. Set, Coward kicks it over to Watts. He'll dribble it up to the top of the key. Coward with a 3, the big man, no good. Again, no Cougs crashed in for that offensive rebound. It's taken by the Vandals. Gonzalez, that left side, quick little bounce pass there. Back to Gonzalez. He'll kick it out to the top of the key. Over to Jack Payne. A 3 and no good. Tipped off, recovered again by Idaho. Gonzalez on the left. He'll kick it back out to the top. Looking for an option there. Nothing. Down in the paint. Dribble drive. D'd up by Price. Blocked. No foul called on that. Great defense. Watts. Kick it over to Price. Off the screen, nothing. Dribbles out to Coward on the left side. Over to Eric Knopf, and he'll put it up for 2. There we go.
Then Erickstrup finally getting on the board tonight. The guy that scores a lot of points is a volume shooter. He just needs to see it go through the hoop.
Mitchell, he'll kick out to the top of the key. Back at the left. Off the screen, he'll drive down for a layup. He'll kick out to Gonzalez with a 3. Dings off the rim. Not sure if Wilson was able to get that out on time or get that back in the court before he went out. Kyson Rose back in now for the Vandals. after a decent performance last week against UC Davis.
Look at this. ND Okafor into the game for the first time this season. It's been a real journey to get him back. He missed. Oh, and he's going off the court. No, he's going to inbound. Yeah, good for ND Okafor. Yeah, he missed.
Yeah, he's the big man now.
A lot of games last year with a leg injury at Cal, and then didn't even play against either of the first two teams. Good to see him out there.
Coward over to Watts. Down inside the key from the right elbow. They'll kick it out. Dribble drive to Eric Knopf, and he'll put it up for two. Cougs have tied this game right back up. There we go. 7-7 now. Kick it out to Gonzalez, who will take it down the far sideline. D'd up by Watts. Off the screen from Mims. They'll kick it over to the left. Payne with the three. Dings off the rim, no good. They'll call that a foul on Watts, I believe. Blocked Mims from getting that rebound there.
Idaho is 0 for their last 10 field goal attempts, and Washington State on a little 7-0 run of their own.
JoJo Anderson inbounding for the Vandals. The 6-foot guard from Spokane, previously playing for Whitworth, where David Riley himself is an alum. He'll kick it out. Over to Gonzalez in the way left corner, and another foul's called. Looks like that's on David. Yeah, it's going to be Eric Strupp again, his first, but one too many mistakes for him early in this game. Payne on the left side. Dribbles down into the paint. Nothing. Looks for an option. He'll kick out to Gonzalez way over at the logo. Over to Mims at the top of the key. Gonzalez dribbles down. Looks for an option. Mims cuts down into the paint. Hard drive in. Blocked by Wazoo.
Yeah, going to be goaltending. It already hit the backboard, but Lawan Watts with the vertical ability just has to let that one go.
Cougs will inbound it. Cal Mace at the top. He'll kick it over to Watts on that far sideline. Over to Eric Strupp. Deep in the paint. He'll go over to the other Watts, LeJean Watts. He'll go for 3-0. Aggressive defense there from Jack Payne for Idaho. Punches that puppy right out of bounds. Cal Mace inbounding under their own hoop. He'll flip it right over to Watts, who will take it down the right side of the court. Over to Eriksov. Blocked by Mims. No fouls called. And that'll roll out of bounds off of an uncommunicated rebound attempt, I'd guess.
Eric Strupp did a good job to get to the rim, but he just has to shoot it, in my opinion. He got really close and just tried to pass it to ND Okafor with a little scoop pass, but just he was at the rim and was like 2 inches away from scoring, and I'm not sure exactly why he didn't shoot that. He loves to shoot it.
Ethan Price takes over for Eric Strupp. Watts, top of the key. He'll kick it over to Calmace on the right. Over to Watts down on the sideline. And he'll fall over, lose his footing. And there we go. Points on the board again for the Cougs. Extend it to 9-9 tie off the glass.
Yeah, good for Okafor. First points of his Washington State career. Good to see him out there, the big man.
Gonzalez, right side of the court. Looking for a screen from Mims. There it is. He'll drive down the left side. Kicks it out to Jack Payne at the top. Over to Anderson. Back over to Mims at the top. He'll cut down. Looks for a layup there. No good. Pass is intercepted. Watts will take it down for the Cougs. Hard drive to Ethan Price on that right elbow. Wow. No foul called there. Okafor over for two. No good. Rebound attempt. There's a mess down there in the paint, but it's eventually recovered by the Vandals. Kicks way out to that left side. Anderson hanging over by that left elbow. He'll drive down, kick out. Not quite sure what the foul is. Maybe a timeout.
Off-ball foul on the one Watts. There was a cutter, and he just kind of grabbed him around the chest area. And so another foul on the one Watts.
Yeah, and they'll take a quick timeout here, catch their breath as the Washington State University dance team comes and gives us a little performance. We will be right back with more Cougar basketball right after this. 11 minutes and 12 seconds left in the first half of the third game of Washington State men's basketball season. All tied up 9-9. Idaho Vandals putting out a relatively impressive performance. I think they're stunning the Cougs a little bit early in this first half.
Yeah, neither team had 10 points yet, and we're almost halfway through the first quarter, or the first half, 9-9 is a pretty low-scoring game. It was kind of like this against Bradley. It was 11-13 about halfway through the first half. So similar start to Friday, but just less offense.
Yeah. Gonzalez hanging over by that right elbow. He'll kick over to Brickner. Hard drive down into the paint, looking for a layup. He'll kick way out to Anderson on the right side for a three, no good. A lot of Cougs down there in the paint. They'll pick up a rebound. Watts with a three. Dings off the rim. Price with a rebound. He'll kick it way back out, and it's recovered. Wide open by Brickner. He'll steal a pass away, go up for two, and it's 11-9 now. Vandals take a lead of 2 points.
Yeah, and they're going to call an and one, and if that's another foul on Cal Meese, that's his second foul already.
He's definitely a wild player. You know, we saw him last week putting up some crazy diving shots, essentially, you know, falling onto the ground and still putting the ball up.
One thing to watch here for us is 6 fouls already for Washington State, one more. And, well, I guess at this point, one more will send Idaho to the free throw line for the rest of this half.
Brickner from the free, no good. Attempt there for a dunk, and it's batted down. Watts heads into Cougar territory. He'll kick it back out to the top. Cal Mace. Over to Watts. Price in the corner. Bounce pass. LaShawn Watts with a three, no good. Rebounded again by the Vandals. They'll take it across the logo. Hard drive down into the paint. Tried for an alley-oop there. No good. Kind of a flashy attempt there from Tyler Myris. Watts off the screen. He'll drive down into the paint, kick it back out to the top. Price. Over to Watts on that right side. He'll drive over, look for an option. Drive down into the paint. The big man is there for two for the Cougs. Tied this game right up 11-11. Nice to see him off the bench and off that injury looking good and productive on the field. Tyler Maris, hard drive down into the paint. He'll kick it out to the left elbow. Over to Brickner. Brickner up to Mims at the top of the key. Vandals off the screen. 3-point attempt, and it's good. He sinks it, nothing but net. 14-11 now. Vandals extend their lead once again. Big man in the key. Hard drive down, D'd up 2-1. They'll kick it out to Price. Over to Cal Mace at the top of the key off the screen. He'll drive down, bounce pass in the paint, and a foul's called.
What a shot.
Wow.
Great start for Andy Okafor. His 6 points and 3 rebounds so far in his debut for the Washington State Cougars. Last year at Cal, played the first 9 games, missed the rest of the season with an injury, came back, was in a sweatsuit last Monday, and then on Friday warmed up but didn't get to play. And then tonight, making his presence known against this smaller Idaho team.
Yeah, and he'll head to the free throw line now. First free throw attempt here for the Cougars. He'll put it up. No good. Rebounded by Anderson. He'll take it down across the logo. Back into Vandal territory. Off the screen. He'll kick it out to Murris. Big man in trouble in the paint. He'll kick it out to the right side. Bounce pass. Down by the glass. 2-on-1 D there. Hard drive from Mitchell. Almost out of bounds. Recovered by the Vandals. Kicks it over to Murris for the three. Airballed. Recovered by Watts. He'll take it quickly. Oh, big screen there from Coward. No, foul and a dunk from Okafor.
He is having a heck of a first half.
Yeah. He's put up the majority of the Cougar points so far. I believe 6 or 7 now.
Yeah, Okafor all the way up to 8 points.
Wow. 3 attempt is good for the Vandals. Again, extending the lead. They were called and they responded real quick. Okafor, Price at the top. Bounce pass over to Lamise. Oh, yeah, and it looks like Cooper will grab the jersey there. And Okafor will inbound it from under the iron.
Been a good first half from Okafor, but it's also been a good first half from Brickner for Idaho.
Yep.
Both players with 8 points to lead their teams. And Okafor will check out, but what a start to his Washington State career.
Coward over to Watts. Far sideline. In traffic, almost thrown right out of bounds. Price behind the back pass, kicks it out to the top of the key, over to Watts again on the left side. Hard drive down into the paint, D'd up, blocked by Payne. The big man gets it stuck between the glass and the rim. Timeout. Called there by the Cougs. Their second timeout of the first quarter, or excuse me, the first half. I mean, not a hugely impressive performance, 2 timeouts kind of indicative of how they've been playing so far. So I'm not surprised, but I'm also not impressed.
Right. It's not been the prettiest first half from really either team, but mostly Washington State, who came into this game expecting to kind of have the upper hand in this game with the talent and the fact that 4 out of their 5 starters are transfers from Eastern Washington, who beat Idaho twice last year with no problems. And they're down 2 with under 8 minutes left in the first half. They got to start picking things up. This is very, very similar to how things started the year against Portland State, where they were down 21-4. But against Idaho, the Vandals were picked right around the middle. They were 5th and 7th, 9th in different polls. Coaches, media, players, like everybody doesn't really know where Idaho is going to end up in the Big Sky, but they're right around the middle, and they're playing like one of the best teams in the Big Sky so far. Portland State got off to a better start than Idaho did, but the Vandals are they're no stranger to playing Washington State and playing them tight.
Yeah, one of the things, the flip to the other side of the coin for, those rapport games that we talked about is playing down to your opponent. It's, one of those things where, you can go out, see you match as a team, and a team that, even according to ESPN analytics, there's a 95% chance of another home game win here for the Cougs. But again, on the flip side, if you play down, you're going to play, worse than you should be. And that's what they're doing right now. Vandals extending their lead. They've made up for that kind of low scoring first couple minutes. They've put up 8. 17-15 is your score with 7:55 here left in the first half. We'll see if, Cougs can kind of turn this around. I'm really not impressed with what I've been seeing. Our big scorers haven't been doing much. And then Okafor, which we haven't seen yet this season, is responsible for the majority of these points. And he's not even on the court right now. So,
yeah, you mentioned the leading scorers not doing it. The 2 leading scorers from Friday's game, Calmise and Coward, both have 0 points so far. Coward's 0 for 2, and Calmise is 0 for 1. Those 2 players have to get going. Yep. And that's why the Cougars are at 15 points at this point with less than 8 minutes to go. They have really struggled to get a lot of rhythm on offense, and then defensively giving up a lot of rebounds still.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that's just them being such an explosive offense at times that they're already halfway across the court when the rebound's still on the glass. There's not really any Cougs crashing down into that paint, and it's showing for sure. The amount of offensive rebounds is going to outweigh the amount of points they score if they don't change that. Calmace under the iron. He'll kick it out to Coward. No foul called on a shove there. Kicks it over to Price at the top of the key. Cal Mace, D'd up, kicks it out again. Screen from Price. Coward won't take it, kicks it over to Watts. Cal Mace, 3 from the top. Airballed it into the stands. Yeah, this is really uncharacteristic of these really kind of spunky younger Cougs. Payne from the base, he'll kick it over to Mitchell, who takes it across the logo, D'd up by Cal Mace. Over to Payne. Far sideline, hard drive into the paint. Isaac Brickner puts it up, recovers his own block shot. Another drive, wide open lane there for Mitchell for Idaho. And he's one of the smaller players on this court. I don't know where the trees were on that play. Coward, 2-on-1, D'd up there in the paint, no options, kicks it out. Ethan Price there puts it up off the glass for 2. Wazoo now only down by 2. Idaho leads 19-17 with just under 7 minutes left in the first half. Brickner takes it to the left. Off the screen, he'll drive down onto that right elbow. Nothing there. Dribbles for an option. He'll kick it out to Mitchell. Athletic guy. Another hard drive down into the paint. Puts it up again. There's a lot of Cougs that are ready for that. That looks like quite the improvement from what we saw just before that timeout.
Calling a foul.
Yep.
Coward was trying to get position on the block, and Idaho wasn't letting him get down there. And Idaho's done a good job of getting Washington State out of rhythm. There's never going to be a confidence issue with this Cougar squad, but it's just a matter of getting good looks and taking a shot when you're open. I think they've kind of shied away from shooting when they're open, which is kind of uncharacteristic through the first 2 games. Yep. They've shot it every time they touch the ball.
Yeah, agreed. Cougs inbounding from the charcoal paint there. They'll kick it out to Coward. Coward 2-on-1 again. They're really D'ing up on him, making sure he has no options. Price at the top of the key over to Wilson. New in the game now for the Cougs. Dane Erikstrup open for an option, nothing. They'll kick it over to the left. Hard drive down into the paint from Watts. Kicks it out to Erikstrup for a 3, and it's good. There we go. He puts some points up on the board. Tallest guy on the court at 6'11", and he puts up a 3. How about that?
Pretty impressive from him. And finally, Washington State has a lead, even through all of the mishaps.
And there's 2 Cougs in the paint to block that shot, and it looks like that's going to be a foul on Coward. I'd say...
Yeah, they're going to give it to Watts, which
Watts,
is probably lucky. You want to keep Coward in there as a bigger body.
They're going to send number 22 for the Vandals, Tyler Lindhart, to the line, the junior from Seattle, Washington. Transfer from Washington, University of Washington, that is. And he'll take it. It'll swing around and out of the bucket for nothing. Score still is 20-19. Cougs lead by 1. As a fan, I'm hoping they extend that lead just a little bit. 5 minutes and 45 seconds left in the first half, and Okafor will come in for Ethan Price. Head down under that glass. Lined up, here we go. Lindhart from the free. And it's good. Wilson in now for the Cougs. He'll take it across the logo over to Watts. Kicks it out to the left side. Back at the top off the screen from Erikstrup. Kicks it over to Coward at the left, the right elbow. Wide open 3 shot there, and it's good from Wilson. Cougs extend it 23-20 now.
Another guy getting his first point of the season, Marcus Wilson, in the former Miles Rice jersey, number 2 for Washington State. Some shades of Rice last year.
Mims at the top of the key. Looks for an option. Drives back up over to Gonzalez on the right. Way over by the logo, back to the top of the key. Around the iron, looking for something. Payne with the 3-pointer off the glass, recovered by Gonzalez. Quick there, cutting in through. And a foul, And the Cougar baseline is fired up about something. I'm not sure what.
They want to review it.
Yep.
Referee signaling to review the play here. Not sure exactly what happened, but there was a lot of commotion on the floor. Washington State wasn't happy with it. Neither was Idaho, but the refs are going to go review something. Their coaching staff checking on Isaiah Watts. Probably something off the ball. Typically, when a replay review happens and people aren't sure what happened, it could be an unsportsmanlike play on the court. But Washington State athletics does, typically doesn't show the replays a lot, which is kind of unfortunate for the broadcasting crew here.
Even when you're a fan, yeah. But okay, so now we've got points on the board. They're coming from threes, and we talked about this prior to one of their longer timeouts earlier in the half. Idaho is crashing in on their defense. They're going 2-1 against Okafor. They're going 2-1 against Coward. And, I mean, they're really watching those big dudes down in the paint. They're putting up almost nothing against the glass. And so, yeah, they're really pushing them outside. But Wazoo seems to be taking that and rolling with it, putting up some threes. So,
yeah, Washington State shoots a lot of threes. They're 39.7% this year from three-point line, and they've done a really good job just shooting volume.
Yeah.
They just are not afraid to let it fly. And when you make them, it's great, but when you miss them, sometimes you get off to a bad rhythm, and then that's when the coaches say just drive it to the cup and get something easy. But they are going to call a shot clock violation on Idaho.
Oh.
Which
is odd because they weren't the ones on offense. But Dane Erikstroff now will take it in from the opposite baseline. The round up here, 4:50, just under 5 minutes left to go before halftime. Getting resituated there, Okafor and Watts down low, the two forwards. And Coward ready to set something up. Really not sure what the commotion is. Erikstroff heads over to Wilson, making a name for himself with that three. He'll kick it over to Coward at the left of the key. Over to that left elbow. Erikstroff driving, three-point attempt from Watts. No good, rebounded by the big man, Payne for Idaho. He'll kick it over to Mitchell, one of the more athletic and quick guys on their team. They'll roll it around the free-point line there, kick it way back out to the logo. Mitchell, D'd up by by Watts. Kicks it over off a screen from Mims, pulls up for two, airballed again. Bounce pass there, attempted from Coward, hits off the knee of a Vandal.
Coward's still yet to score in this game.
Yep.
Every time he touches it, it looks like he just wants to rip somebody's head off and go right to the cup. But the Idaho Vandals have done a good job shutting him down and frustrating him so far.
Yep. Williams cross logo over to Coward. Down Erikstroff, three-pointer again from the big man. Coward from the top of the key. Over to Erikstroff, hard drive in, and it looks like a travel. Not quite sure.
No, they hit him on the top of the head, I think. And Erikstroff will be at the free throw line after the media timeout. But good offensive rebound, and Okafor has been the star of the night so far.
Yep.
8 points, 4 rebounds for ND Okafor in his Cougar debut. Really, really impressed with what I'm seeing out of the Irish 6'9" big fella.
Yeah. Again, the Cougar dance team is out on the field giving us some nice entertainment. We'll be back right after this. Thank you so much for listening. Cougs taking some interesting new directions, mixing it up. They're ahead by 3 points, 23-10, but they're putting in some newer fellas. Marcus Wilson with his first score of the season in early for the Cougs before the first half of basketball is even over. Curious to see if that, was intentional, trying to see what's working on offense, what's not. But I would argue that this is a game they really just can't afford to lose.
Exactly.
So
they cannot afford to lose it. This would be a probable quad 4 loss because they're at home against the Idaho team that is going to be ranked near the 200s and 300s in the Ken Palm in the overall rankings.
Eric Strupp, 3 for 5 from the free. Dings the first one. No good. He'll take it again, and it's good. Payne will inbound it. D'd up by Watts. He'll kick it way over to Rose. Weird play there from Mitchell as he does a circle around him. D'd up by Wilson at the top of the key, off the screen. Looks for an option there. Mitchell able to get out of it. Loses control of the ball, and it's picked up by Watts. Wide open court here. And he'll pull up off the glass for 2. Cougs extend their lead by 6. 26-20 now with 3.5 minutes left to go.
They are I think they're going to call a technical foul on Isaiah Watts after the layup. Had some extracurricular activity there, and it was not approved by the administrators.
Rose will head to the free. He'll line up at the stripe here. 0 for 1 tonight in free throws. Crowd's not liking that. He'll ding it off the edge of the rim there. No good.
I wonder if they're going to have to replace the rims at halftime. There's a lot of dents in them.
Yeah.
A lot of bricks being thrown up tonight.
Yeah, and that glass is nice and shiny, I have to say. Again, alone at the paint. They'll sink it. Cougs up by 5, 26-21. As they'll roll that over to the other baseline. Payne inbounding. D'd up by Price. The 6'10" senior from England. He'll head it over to Gonzalez as he takes it down. The floorboards, kicks it over to Payne. Back over to the left side of the key. D'd up. Myers looking for something there. Screen from Rose. Kicks it back, top of the key. Cut route in there from Robert. He'll put it up, from Payne. He'll put it up by 2. Off the glass. Nice little cut route there. Wilson for the Cougs, left side. Kicks it over to Price on the left. Watts at the top of the key, kicks it over. He's signaling for a cut route there from Cal Mace. Wilson, top of the key, three-pointer, and it's good! 6 points for Wilson tonight.
Yeah, for a guy coming in with no points on the season, 6 tonight, and then Okafor no points on the season, and 8 tonight. What a start for the Cougars in the second half, or the first half, with players that really haven't been playing much.
Yeah, 29-23 now. Myers sinks it for the Vandals. Yeah, his first bucket of the night. Okafor tries to dunk, blocked, recovered by Payne. He's D'd up by Okafor. Get a little handsy there, and Myers will throw it to the other baseline. Miscommunication there. It's gobbled up by the Cougs, and they'll put it off the glass for 2. 31-26 now, 2 minutes left in the half. Mitchell puts it up, diving 2 off the glass. It's good. Swirls around the rim. Watts. Right elbow. Looking for something, nothing. Passes it over to Price. Bounce pass. Cal Mace on the left. D'd up by Gonzalez. He'll kick over to Okafor on that far baseline. 3 off the screen. Dings off that iron. Yeah, they're really denting that thing up tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, pushing the back on Okafor. He was wide open in the corner, but probably wisely didn't take the 3. but then went in to get the offensive rebound and pushed the Idaho Vandal in the back. And, we talked about the fouls earlier in this half, and they have really racked them up. They have 9 team fouls. The next one will be 2 free throws for Idaho. This is still a 1-and-1 for Rose.
Yep. And yeah, him from the free throw tonight, that's his only point of the night. Definitely more of a defensive player. He'll take to the stripe again. Eric Strupp and Price there to pick it up. He'll sink it. 31-29 now. Idaho's creeping back up on the Cougs, only down now by 2, when just a moment ago they were down by 6. Rose again. Crowd with something less than enthusiasm for the Idaho Vandal. It'll swirl out of the bucket, recovered by Price. Coward will take it down the far baseline. Cal Mace in the corner. Price at the top of the key, kicks it over to Watts on the right side, off the screen from Eric Stroff. That'll be a foul on, I think, Brickner for the Vandals. Yeah, Isaiah Brickner. That's his first foul of the night.
That's his third foul of the night, they say. And
yeah,
that's a big development. Brickner, who had 20 points in their first game against Northwest University, only had 2 on Friday against UC Davis, and 3 fouls in the first half is not good.
Price, 1 for 3 from the stripe tonight. He'll put it down. Cougs extend the lead now to 3 with just under 2 minutes left. They'll call a quick break here. And yeah, it looks like they're putting themselves together a little bit. They've kind of added the finishing touches. They figured out what they're doing on offense. Absolutely. Utilizing those cut routes and those screen plays, that's what really seems to be working. And even on Idaho's side of the ball, 14 number Mitchell, he is so fast, and he can get those passes out, bounce pass down to your forwards, or even driving it down. And I think, when you're 6'10", 6'11", sometimes quickness isn't exactly your strong suit. You're just really there as a presence. So I think for Mitchell, that's what's really driving the Idaho offense. And then for the Cougs, they can't really do much in the paint because they're putting it up 2-on-1 defense against Coward and then Price. And then when Okafor is in, they're putting up 2 on him. So they're kicking it out to threes, and it seems to be working okay. So we'll see if they can continue that streak. Price lined up again. He'll sink it. And Payne from the baseline. Teed up by Eric Strupp. Risky bounce pass over to Gonzalez, teed up by Watts. He'll pass it over to Mitchell, takes it across the logo. He'll dribble left. Option there. Kicks it over to Rose. Hard drive down into the paint. Puts it off the glass for 2, and it's good. Cougs up now by 2. 1 minute left. Vandals trailing by a bucket. Price, top of the key. Looks for an option. Pass over to Coward. Eric Stroff on that right elbow. He'll kick it over to Price. Bounce pass to Coward, and it's good off the glass. And that's what I'm talking about. Those cut routes. Those are going to be quick. They got to be sneaky with a Vandal defense that loves to crash the paint.
First point of the night for Cedric Coward, the preseason All-WCC player. Really got to get him going if the Cougars want to pull away in this one.
Mitchell. Looking over to Myris. He'll kick it out to the top. Another unfortunate pass for Myris. Not his smartest move, but Mitchell recovers it. D'd up by Price. He'll take a 3. It'll bounce high to the sky, and it's rebounded by the Cougs. Nothing there for the Vandals. Price, 10 seconds left. Will Cyrus take a 3? Coward, hard drive down into the paint, step back. Eric Stroff, he'll take the 3. And it's good! Rapport there for the Cougs, 38-31. Vandals trailing by 7 going into the half. Cougs extending that lead. And, 40 points is all right for the first half of basketball. It's not the best thing I've ever seen, but they, compared to the first 10 minutes when they scored 12, They did all right kind of recovering there, figuring out their groove, what works. Cut routes, I'm going to say it all night. That's what's going to work, especially if they want to use their big guys and their forwards that are just waiting for an open pass.
Yeah, a shot through the arm is what
Yep.
I would describe that shot from Eric Strupp as, because this crowd now back into it. It was a up and down first half, and Washington State just looked a little out of sync.
Yep.
They have a 7-point lead, but it has not looked pretty tonight. And Idaho right there, they're not going away. They're going to be there all night long as well. Washington State just needs to be a little more decisive in what they're doing. They're not getting great looks at the rim. Idaho's playing some good defense, but it's been a really out of sync night so far, and Riley had to go deep into the bench with Okafor to get a spark.
Yep. And as they head into the locker room, we're going to take a quick break here, and we will be back right after halftime with more Cougar basketball. Cougs taking the lead by 7, 38-31. We will be back in 15.
38-31 at the half, about 10:40 to go. (38-31), 7 minutes to go in the half. The 279th Battle of the Border is underway and halfway through, 38-31. Washington State has the lead over Idaho. Second half about to get started, about 3.5 minutes until the inbound play. So, Norma, that first half was slow start and then a decent finish for Washington State. But anything that stood out to you as far as the starters go?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disappointed. I'm just kind of underwhelmed with their performance. Coward, I was expecting a lot from him, especially because of how electric he was in those other games. I mean, we talked about him before the game, 61% shooting as a 6'6" forward. He's 61% shooting, 50% from the three, and he shot 89.5% at Eastern. So I was expecting a lot from him. He's only put up 2 points, and he's only 1 for 3. So he's only attempted for 3 shots. So I'm not sure if he's just adjusting to the defense and how much they're crashing in, but that's a bit out of character for him. And then Price as well, 1 for 3 again, and then 4 points, which is okay. But I'm really confused about Calmise here. Usually he kind of runs the court, puts up some aggressive shots. Sometimes he does some things that are a little risky, but most of the time they pay off. And tonight, they're really not. He's got 2 fouls already on things that were, in my opinion, pretty dumb early in the game. And he's put up 1 basket, and he's 1 for 4 and 0 for 3 from the 3-point line. So, I'm just not impressed. They've been bringing in some of these Wazoo veterans and not transfers. Okafor coming in, putting up some big numbers. I believe he's up at 8 or 9 points now. And then we've got some couple other guys coming in. Wilson, he put up 2 threes after putting up no points for the rest of this season. So I'm kind of expecting maybe the David Riley there to have a lot of, trust in his starters from Eastern, and then they're just not getting the job done. So he's putting in new stuff to see if that chemistry gets any better. And I would say it did. Coming from down by 4 or 5 points to up by 7, I would say you got to keep doing what you're doing and maybe switch up that core 4 that's been working for the past 2 games.
Washington State was just 3 of 5 from the free throw line in the first half. On Friday against Bradley, they shot 33 free throws. They were 27 of 33 from the free throw line, and that's one of the differences that they haven't gotten those free throws going because they haven't been able to get to the cup because Idaho's defense has been all over the Cougars on offense. Yeah. Dane Erikstrup leads the way with 11 points on 4 of 6 shooting. It's been a interesting first half in a game where David Riley has been furious at some of the players. He's called some timeouts early to get them going. He put Andy Okafor in to get a spark. Marcus Wilson has been in the game, 2 threes from him. Haven't seen Parker Garrett's yet, but I wouldn't be surprised in the second half if he gets in to maybe give him a different spark. If the fire's still not going, 30 seconds to go until the second half is underway. Yeah. But Idaho has done a really good job staying together as a unit, not going away and not getting frustrated even when Washington State has come back to take the lead. It's 38-31, so Washington State has a 7-point lead going into the second half. But this kind of game can really test the mettle of a team that is relatively inexperienced playing together. 4 of the 5 starters did play together last year, but the rest of the team hasn't played on the same team together. Idaho has a lot more connection with their unit. Julius Mims, only 4 points for Idaho. He's their best player, the preseason All-Big Sky player. And the second half is underway with Mitchell bringing it across half court for the Vandals. Starts with it on the left side, and they're running some off-ball action, and Calmise with a steal immediately, and a dunk already, and it's 40-31, 15 seconds into the second half, and Nate Calmise has the steal. He's an aggressive defender, and he will get steals and easy points at the basket. Brickner brings it across the timeline, alley-oop to Mims, and it's swatted away, but a foul is called on Washington State. That's on Lawan Watts with a push. Brickner tried to alley-oop it up to Mims, and Julius Mims is a guy that's been really good for Idaho in previous seasons, and he's got off to a slow start, and it's an easy pass to Payne for 2, And it's 40-33, 19:25 to go in the first half. Coward over the half-court stripe, crosses over to his right. Eric Strupp in the way, kicks it over to Price at the top of the key to Watts. Lewan dribbles it up to Ethan Price at the top of the key to Coward. All the way around the world to Cal Meese on the right side. Kicks it over to left. Lewan Watts wide open. 3-ball off the front of the rim. Coward goes up for an offensive rebound. Then a foul is called on Idaho.
Yeah, and even though there's a foul on the play, that's what we're looking for from Washington State, is to be aggressive with those offensive rebounds. You see Coward almost broke his back going for that rebound, but that's what you want to see, especially as they inbound it here.
Cal Meese inbounds to Eric Strupp, kicks it to Watts at the free throw line, wide open in the corner. Cal Meese for three off the rim, and it's no good. Mims got the rebound, but it's poked away by Eric Strupp, and it will be Idaho possession. So good play by Price, but just couldn't tap it to himself, and Eric Strupp pokes it out of bounds. So Mitchell over the timeline. Cal Meese guarding him tightly. Already has a steal in this half. Mitchell gets it down to Mims, driving on Price, and another foul is called on Washington State.
Coward that time. Looks like he tripped up Payne in the back.
Yeah, that's an off-ball foul on Coward.
Yep.
That's his first foul of the game. Second team foul in the half. Mitchell to inbound from the H of the Washington State wordmark logo on the baseline from the far right. Inbounds to Mims, bounce pass already, and it's two for Idaho. 40-35, 18:44 to go in the second half. Washington State holding on narrowly over the Vandals. Price at the top of the key, spins at the free throw line, gives it up to Coward. Hesitates, passes inside to Watts, and an and one, but a three in the key. Maybe a foul, I don't know. And a hold is going to be called on Idaho. So a lucky play from Watts, who was chilling in the key, but got bailed out by a foul from Idaho. And Washington State will inbound from the baseline. 18:32 to go. 40-35 Washington State. Price going to take his time and tie his shoes. And here comes the inbound. Bounce pass to Eric Strupp. Looking to pass it inside to Price. Gets it to Watts going up, and a foul is called again. Watts got poked in the face, holding his face, and a foul is called on Payne. Watts to the free throw line.
Yeah, Payne's second foul of the night. He gets down and dirty in defense, though. He's causing a lot of problems for these Cougar forwards.
Lewan Watts shooting 90% from the free throw line this season. The Eastern Washington transfer. First free throw is good, and it's 41-35. 18:28 to play. Just starting the second half. Washington State had a 7-point lead at halftime. Watts' second free throw off the front of the rim, and Eric Strupp tried to get the offensive rebound, and it was poked away by Payne, and it'll stay with Washington State. 6-point lead for the Cougs. Price to inbound it in front of the bench. On the left side of the court, they're moving right to left for the second half. Quick inbound to Eric Strupp, back to Price, and a three-pointer is no good. Mims pulls down the rebound and gets it to Mitchell. Quickly up ahead to Payne. Picked up by Eric Strupp. Top of the key, bounce pass to Mims, picked up by Lewan Watts. Pass over to Payne, and he dribbles right side. Price picks him up. Lewan Watts goes for the steal. Payne kicks it, corner, Brickner. Driving on Eric Strupp, left hand, spins, and Eric Strupp gets a poke away. Cross-court pass to Payne. Step back three on the way. No good, way off. And Eric Strupp gets the rebound. Cal Meese up ahead. Cross-court pass to Watts, and a foul is called on Coward. Off the ball. Second foul of the half on Cedric Coward.
Yeah, prior to the foul, Washington State starting to create some distance, but unfortunately it's just not enough. Idaho coming in 14 for 35 from the field, and Wazoo at 16 for 36. So these teams really right now are neck and neck in terms of offense, and you cannot have fouls like that when you need to create some distance between you and the other team.
Payne has a massive scratch around his right bicep. So he'll have to come out of the game to get his arm wrapped up to avoid the blood contaminating everybody else on the floor.
His head coach, they're really yanking him off the court. I think they might be trying to put him right back in the game, and they will. He'll jog back onto the floorboards.
Head coach for Idaho, Alex Pribble, graduated from Cal in 2007, and he spent the last few seasons with Seattle University as the assistant coach until 2023, and he is in his first season as the Idaho men's basketball coach. And a massive screen set on Calmes. Payne had his back turned to him, and he gets it to Mitchell for three. Off the mark. Watts pulls down the rebound quickly up ahead, and the Cougs are fired up after that big screen. And a foul is called, and there's some hostility on the floor.
Yeah.
And the refs got to get this under control. A foul is on Mims as he'll come out. That's a third foul on Julius Mims. Big foul called on Mims, who is their best player. Rose checks into the game for Mims. Calmes checks it in, and Payne gets a steal on the inbounds up ahead. Demurris crosses over, attacks Coward, and gets the two. Acrobatic layup for Idaho, and they cut the lead to 4 with 17:23 to go. Calmes in control. Price on the left side with Rose on him, directing traffic. Luan Watts posting up Brickner. Top of the key, Erikstrup, three ball. Bounces in. What a friendly roll for Erikstrup. 44-37. 17 minutes to go. Erikstrup now has 14 to lead the Cougars. Full court pressure from Washington State. Idaho breaks it. It's a man-to-man press. So not a huge threat to the Vandal possession. Rose gets Price off his foot, and he blocks it off the backboard. Quickly the other way, Luan Watts leaves it for Erikstrup. Another three on the way, off the rim. Calmes offensive rebound, couldn't get it to go. Watts tracks it down, and he falls towards the bench, and there's some concern if he hit himself, and Isaiah Watts helps him up. But Calmes couldn't finish at the rim. Watts flies in, and the ball goes out of bounds off of Washington State.
Yeah, the Vandals with a fire under themselves after that foul against Payne. He ran in there and smacks those balls down. He's on offense, he's on defense, and he's running up towards the logo to bat those balls away, and he's forward. So, you know, I'd watch for that just a little bit. And, you know, Mims with an uncharacteristic foul, maybe see if they're about to get a little more fired up.
Murris to inbound to Rose. And Anderson into the game for Idaho again. His first appearance in this second half. 16:25 to go, 44-37. Brickner with Watts on him. Bounce pass inside to Payne. Rejected by Erikstrup, and it's a wedgie. The ball is stuck in the rim. And Price taps it away, but a jump ball is called. Possession arrow favoring Washington State. 7-point lead, 16-19 to go in the second half. Marcus Wilson has checked into the game. Calmes will come out. Erikstrup will also come out. Isaiah Watts into the game. Luan Watts also out there. Price to inbound to Coward. A zone press from Idaho as they bring it over. Luan Watts into the corner on the far side. Kicks it up to Coward. Wilson all the way around the world to Isaiah Watts. Picks up his dribble, swings it to Coward. Luan Watts on the far block against Rose. Kicks it to Watts, drives in. Isaiah Watts discards Rose, and a banker off the glass is good. 46-37, Washington State 9-point lead, 15:48 to go.
And yeah, once you get rid of Rose on defense and he stops setting those screens, it's real easy to find routes into the basket.
Anderson gets a screen from Rose, picks up his dribble. Brickner at the top of the key. Kicks it to Gonzalez, and a foul is called off the ball. That's going to be on Wilson with a hold, and the first media timeout of the half is upon us. So Washington State had a 7-point lead to start the half. They've extended that to just 9. Anything standing out to you so far, Norma, in this second half?
Yeah, I like that Washington State, you mentioned the full court press. They're playing more aggressive defense. I think they're giving Idaho a taste of their own medicine. They're being aggressive with the rebounds, and, you know, that might mean more fouls, but I like what I'm seeing. I think they're awake and even, you know, risking maybe sending a Vandal to the stripe. That means that they're, you know, they're wanting this win. They're aggressive for this win, and they're up by 9 now, their biggest lead of the night. So I think that trade-off is worth it for Washington State right now.
46-37, Washington State has the lead. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. Davis Hagen alongside Norma Fulwiler, and it's 46-37. Washington State has the lead. 9-point advantage for the Cougs with 15:35 to go in the second half. Dana Erikstrup leading the way for Washington State. He'll get to the bench as a new unit is out there. Lawan Watts, Ethan Price, Marcus Wilson, Isaiah Watson, Cedric Coward out for Washington State. Idaho will have possession as we restart the second half. Again, 15 and a half minutes to go. 46-37 Washington State. Anderson to inbound for Idaho. Alley-oop to Payne. Rejected by Coward. Isaiah Watts quickly the other way. Hesitates, gets it to Lawan Watts at the top of the key. Drives inside. Contact. Doesn't get the first one. Gets the second chance. And it's 48-37. 11-point lead for Washington State. Great start out of the media timeout. Anderson over half court. Gets a big screen again from Rose. Anderson picks up his dribble. Cross-court pass to Payne, back to Anderson. Wilson, who got hammered by Rose, gets another screen from Rose. Payne on the far side. Gonzalez looking to get open, has to get it to Brickner. Dribble handoff, between the legs, step back. Coward picks him up, spins, driving to the cup. Tough finish, and he got it. 48-39, under 15 minutes. Tough finish for Idaho. They cut it to 9, 14:45 to go. Isaiah Watts attacking Gonzalez. Cross-court pass to Price in the far side. Rose on him. Looking for an outlet. Gets it to Watts at the top of the key. Bounce pass to Coward. Lawan Watts working on Payne. Bounce pass inside. Good positioning. 2 more for Washington State, and it's 50-39. 14:25 to go. Second half, Washington State up by 11. Trying to pull away against Idaho. Brickner crosses over. Coward tried to poke it away. Brickner still on it. Rose trying to set another screen. Brickner, cross-court pass. Anderson to Gonzalez in the corner. Watts has him in a straight jacket. Gonzalez finds a way to get to the rim, and it's 50-41 now. Coward gets the quick inbound. Washington State and Idaho at a frenetic pace. Price, entry pass to Watts. Payne still on him. Discards him and gets the 2. Crowd thought it could be a charge, but instead no call, and it's 52-41, 13:43 to go.
Second time in just 3 minutes now that Payne has been laid out on the floor.
Brickner over half court. Payne at the top of the key. It's been a physical battle between Payne and Lawan Watts. Brickner driving against Coward, and a bump foul is called on Cedric Coward, his third of the half. Andy Okafor checking in for Ethan Price, and Erikstrup, the leading scorer for Washington State, coming back into the game. It'll be Coward to come out. That's 3 fouls on Cedric Coward, who only has 2 points tonight. Washington State's leading scorer coming into tonight with 20.5 points per game. Quick impound to Brickner. Rose back out to Gonzalez at the top of the key. Gonzalez directing traffic. Rose has been the screen man, and another foul is called on Washington State off the ball. It's Wilson this time. And Calnese will check back in.
Yeah, a little confused by some of those calls. I mean, Vandals are playing some aggressive, gritty basketball, and I think the response from Washington State is just getting overcalled by the referees.
Quick inbound to Brickner, and it's out of bounds off of Brickner. Tried to make an athletic move to go up and get it, but Calnese was there in defense, and it's tapped out of bounds right in front of the Idaho bench, and Washington State will get possession. 52-41, 13-12 to go in the second half. Jaden Stevens, the Oregon State transfer, has checked into the game for Idaho. Calnese to Isaiah Watts. Back pick set by Lawan Watts, and it's over to the corner with Erikstrup. Wide open at the elbow. Lawan Watts working on Rose. Spins to the right hand and gets the roll. Friendly bounce once again for Washington State. 54-41, 12:50 to go. Brickner crossing over. Calnese trying to get to the cup. He had 20 points in their debut against Northwestern University. And it's tapped away by Okafor. Right to Calnese. Alley-oop up ahead to Erikstrup, and it bounces off the backboard, and Lawan Watts gets the slam, and this place is going nuts.
Wow, talk about Washington State deciding to play some gritty basketball in this second half. My goodness, it's like a different team out there.
What a finish by Lawan Watts, and it's a 15-point advantage by Washington State. Right place, right time. The initial alley-oop was to Eric Strip, who just missed it, and it bounces off the backboard right into the hands of the waiting Lawan Watts.
Yeah, Lawan Watts, bit of an inexperienced player compared to some of his other teammates. He's second in the game with points right now, coming in at 9 behind Eric Strupp with 14. So, I mean, he's making a name for himself tonight. But talk about gritty basketball. Talk about aggressive, fun to watch basketball. I think Idaho's, a little annoyed at some of those fouls called, especially against Payne, as he's gotten laid out twice now. And, I mean, those are hard hits, especially if you're not used to play like that. Coward, not that he's not caring, but he's letting those fouls come. He's not going to let them take advantage of those rebounds anymore. And I'm appreciating that they're crashing underneath the iron to get those offensive rebounds. And that alley-oop, essentially, I would argue, was an offensive rebound because they tried and then they missed it.
Right.
So good on the Cougs for playing with a fire under their butt.
Rose is 6'9", 245 pounds, and he is blasting Marcus Wilson, who is 6'3", 180 pounds as a freshman. Rose is a senior, so a veteran guy, a grizzled vet, just really big body. We've seen this a few times in the past with teams like Virginia that run players that just set screens, and Kyson Rose has kind of been that player for Idaho that just gets out there and sets the picks. And it worked really well for Virginia. They won a national championship off it with Jack Salter. But Idaho trying to do a similar thing with Rose, who has dealt some pretty serious blows to some of these Washington State Cougars who are really not even seeing it coming. They're kind of running straight into him and he's just a brick wall.
Yeah, I totally agree. Talk about a crucial part of the offense. He just sits up at the top of the key and gives them options because, like you said, he's a monster. And he sits there and he's broad in the shoulders and he's muscular, so he's got that base and he's just knocking down Cougars left and right.
It'll be interesting to see if Washington State targets Julius Mims, as they call Juice Mims over in Moscow. He has 3 fouls in this game and just 6 points. It'll be really interesting if he gets his 4th. What Idaho does, they have sort of lost their grip on this game. Washington State has pulled away with a 15-point lead, 12 and a half minutes to go in the second half. Stevens, the Oregon State transfer to inbound. He spent 2 years there and only had 57 total points. He's just averaging half a rebound this year, no points yet on the season. Inbound to Mitchell, who's been electric so far, orchestrating the offense for the Vandals. Crosses over half court, pressured, and he was over and back. He stepped over and then went back at the crossover, and Cal Meese has another turnover forced against Mitchell.
Cal Meese letting his personality shine through. This is the Cal Meese we saw against Bradley and Portland State. Bit of an eccentric guy, I'd say, kind of dances around, does a little this, little that, and he's starting to really show his colors, and I'm nothing but happy about it.
Isaiah Watts snaking through the defense. Over to Cal Meese, hesitates, kicks it to Eric Strupp in the corner. Hesitated, falls down, gets it to Cal Meese. Back to Eric Strupp, wide open 3 off the rim. Isaiah Watts went up for a slam on the rebound and couldn't get it. Mims pulls it down over to Brickner, and the Vandals clear. Stevens trying to work on Eric Strupp, back to Brickner. And they're going to set up their offense. Julius Mims yet to get going tonight, just 6 points against Okafor. Dribble handoff to Murris, and his 3 is on the way and no good. Mims gets the offensive rebound, and a foul is going to be called. Probably going to be on Okafor, and it's a 1-and-1 for Idaho. That is, again, on ND Okafor, his 3rd foul as well. So foul problems so far tonight for Washington State. The under-12 media timeout is upon us. 56-41, Washington State has the lead. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. Electricity is flowing through Beasley Coliseum with a 15-point lead. Washington State is up on Idaho. It has been a interesting game so far. Cougars have scored 90-plus points in the first two games, just 56, almost three-fourths of the way through the game, but the defense has been much improved, holding Idaho to just 41 points.
And I think a key for Washington State right now is trying to create that distance in statistics, because Idaho, a commemorable foe, is not the hardest team they're going to face this season. So, I mean, Idaho at 17 for 43 and Wazoo at 23 for 49. They got to create a sizable difference in statistics if they want to go up against more difficult programs.
Mims at the free throw line for Idaho with a 1-and-1. The Billings, Montana native, 2024 Big Sky preseason all-team member, misses the free throw, and Price gets the rebound. So 0 for 1, doesn't get the second of the 1-and-1. Calmise quickly to Eric Strip, and he'll settle things down. Back to Calmise at the top of the key. Over to Isaiah Watts on the right side. Calmise looks for Eric Strip, and it's Lawan Watts on the left side who ends up with it. Stevens is on him, looking for a cross-court pass. Doesn't have it. Gets it off to Isaiah Watts. Give and go to Eric Strip, but he fakes the go. Back to Calmise. Elbow jumper is good, and it's 58-41. Washington State 17-point lead.
Vandals now in a scoring drought of just under 3 minutes.
Yeah, Washington State on an 8-0 run. Mitchell across half court. Stevens pulls up for three. Too strong. Watts gets the rebound. Lawan Watts, that is. Brings it over half court. As Eric Strip, but doesn't want it. He wants Miras, and he passes it to Price, who it's right off his fingers, and Mitchell picks it up, going the other way, attacks Price, flips it up, and an offensive rebound, and two more for Idaho. It's Julius Mims and a foul on Isaiah Watts. That's an and one.
Yeah, those are those kind of butterfinger mistakes we were talking about. Sometimes those bigger guys, I mean, Ethan Price is coming in at 6'8", so, you know, sometimes those aggressive, more athletic plays are difficult for the bigger guys. They're kind of just post up under the hoop, but can't make mistakes like that in a game like this.
Julius Mims back to the free throw line. He just missed last time down for Idaho. 58-43, 10:45 to go. Just one free throw for Mims. Knocks it down, and it's a 14-point lead. Mims will come out, Rose back in. The big man for Idaho. Also into the game for Idaho, Miles Clapper, number 24 from Hillsborough, California. Calmise at the top of the key to Price. Wilson, who has 2 threes tonight on the left side, picked up by Clapper. Down to Eric Strip against Rose. Big man on big man at the left blocks. Eric Strip spins, gets it to Calmise under the hoop. Somehow got it to go with a scoop shot under the basket. And it's 60-44 Washington State. Mitchell quickly the other way for Idaho. Cross-court pass to Rose for three, and that's too strong. Wilson discards Clapper, and that's a foul on Marcus Wilson, who just discarded Clapper on the block to try to get that defensive rebound. And Wilson has had a lot of fouls off the ball tonight.
Yeah, it kind of almost looks like he trips on that one, though. I mean, sometimes you just get in a little scuffle on accident because it's such a physical. I mean, you contact people in that game. It's a contact sport. But yeah, 3 fouls already in his first game of the season, essentially, in terms of points or any real effect on the game is not a good look.
Clapper's only points of the season were from the free throw line. He has 1 point, and he knocks it down. He's the 1-and-1. He makes the front end, so 60-45, 10:15 to go. Clapper back to the free throw line to shoot it. Played 1 season at Bridgeton Academy in Maine, and he knocks down the second one. 60-46. Just over 10 minutes to play. Washington State holding on to a 14-point lead. They were only up 7 at the half. Idaho has been in it all night. Wilson on the left side to Calmise at the top of the key. Gets a screen from Price. Right hand finish and one for Calmise. And it's 62-46. This foul is on Anderson. And Calmise will go back to the line where he had a home built for him against Bradley on Friday night.
Notice now that the Vandals are kind of switching up their defense. They've put their big man Rose setting those screens all night. They've pushed him down now under the basket. Curious if they're trying to switch something up so they're preventing those layups easy off the glass from Calmise.
Got the and one, so just one free throw for Cal Meese, and it does not rattle home. Rose picks it up, and he's going coast to coast. Pass to Anderson, back to Rose, going up against Coward, and he gets the block. What a block by Coward, and it's out of bounds off of Rose. Great play from Coward to challenge Rose. He was challenging Darius Hanna from the Bradley Braves on Friday, got dunked on twice. This time, still not afraid. And the refs are having a discussion, the three of them in a triangle, trying to decide what to do. And we will see what they end up doing. Talking to the score officials. Inadvertent whistle is the call. 16-point lead for Washington State with 9:48 to go. There's been a few interesting things happening with the refs tonight.
Yeah, don't see an inadvertent whistle call every basketball game you go to, especially because that's a blatant, mistake on the refs, and they don't usually love to admit their own mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. Regardless, it's priced to inbounds to Cal Meese, so 9:48 to go. 16-point lead for Washington State. Cal Meese in control of the ball to Price at the top of the key. Bounce pass to Wilson, Clapper on him. Cal Meese, top of the key, three on the way, rattles home, and Cal Meese flexes on him. Three more for Washington State, lead up to 19. 9.5 to go, second half. 279th battle of the border between the Vandals and the Cougars. Washington State starting to pull away. Rose at the elbow. Handoff to Clapper, picked up by Wilson. Cross-court pass to Payne. Rose at the top of the key, gets it to Clapper, ducks inside. Coward has bumped him, and that's going to be a foul again on Coward, his fourth of the night.
Yeah, and they're really picking on him. I mean, he can come up if he wants to block that. He had his hands wide up in the air. I am really kind of surprised that they're being that ginger on those calls.
So they're going to call it on Wilson instead of Coward. They're going to call it on the swipe instead of the initial bump contact.
Yeah. Definitely makes a bit more sense. I was kind of surprised by that initial call.
Clapper, free throw, good. So he's up to 2 points on the night. Coward only has 2 tonight. He was the leading scorer coming into this game with 20.5 points per game. Just 2 points for Coward and 3 fouls. Wilson has 6, but 4 fouls for Washington State. Clapper, second free throw, good. 65-48. Washington State has the lead. Idaho not going away quite yet. Parker Garrett's to the scores table. Going to check in at the next dead ball. Clapper hounding Wilson. Over to Price on the left wing. Ducking through the traffic.
Wow.
Puts it up with the right, and a foul is called. Surprised that he got there without getting a foul first before he shot it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of contact, and that foul is going to be on Rose.
Yeah, really mindful of those steps, too. Careful not to get a travel as he kind of walks off ginger on that right leg. But he'll head to the stripe.
Just Rose's second foul of the night, which is surprising for the big man who sets some pretty hard screens. He's been involved in a lot of plays on the block. Mims and Mitchell for Idaho set to check in. Okafor and Garrett's also at the scores table. The refs are checking something on the video monitor. We'll see. They're going to go to a replay review on the foul of Price by Rose.
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of hard to make an initial call on plays like that. I mean, he was running through weeds there for a minute, so I can definitely see how they could call contact on any one of those
exactly
moves that he just made. So
yeah, the announcement was for double checking if the foul was called on the right person, and they're going to clear the floor.
Yeah, that's a tough call. Hard to get an angle on that, especially when it's right under the basket. Just adds to more of the mayhem.
Yeah, good news for Washington State is it will be a foul. Okay, so they were reviewing the previous play on the other side of the floor where Idaho went to the free throw line with Clapper, and they're changing that foul to a foul on Coward, which the initial bump, as opposed to Wilson. So instead, Coward has 4 with just 2 points instead of Wilson. Wilson will go back to 3 fouls, and Price will go to the line. The foul stays on Rose. for Idaho. So the play was being reviewed for the previous play before this one, which is interesting.
And I mean, I just really don't agree with referees, especially when, we're a full play moved on from that. And it just kind of messes up the flow of a game, especially for a team that's trying to run away with this, make a statement. It just doesn't really make any sense.
Price's first free throw is good. 66-48 the score. Washington State in control of this one, but they had a really tough first half. Slow start. They were down 7-0 to start the game, and they've clawed their way to a lead of 18, 66-48, 8:51 to go. Price at the line for his second. He's a 71% free throw shooter. Chance to put 2 for 2 to his name, and he does. So 67-48 the score. Garrett's into the game. Okafor also into the game for Washington State. Mitchell over half court with Calmeese right on his hip. Mitchell to the cup. Rejected by Okafor. Right into the hands of Calmeese. Quickly up the other way. Drives on Clapper. Right hand layup. No good. Offensive rebound. Price, and a foul is called. And it will be on Washington State. So the first personal foul on Garrett, first personal foul on Price. So it'll be Murris to the line for Idaho, who just has 9 points tonight, averaging 9.5 this season for Idaho. A lot of plays happening really fast. The refs just having to make a quick decision tonight. Murris to the line, so he'll shoot 2. First free throw rolls in for Murris, who had a medical red shirt last year. He played 2 games, 21 total points, but had to redshirt after an injury. Knocks down the second free throw. 17-point lead for Washington State. 8.5 minutes to go. Calmeese over the timeline, gets a screen from Coward over to the right side. Ethan Price directing traffic, looking for Watts on the baseline. Has Brickner on him. Spins, gets it to Okafor. And this one doesn't roll in. Second chance for Okafor doesn't go, and he gets another one, and he gets fouled. So he shot it, he tried to tip it in, ended up grabbing it and getting fouled, and he'll go to the free throw line. Both teams into the bonus. Idaho's in the double bonus. Washington just in the single bonus with 7 fouls on Idaho. Okafor, the California transfer, hails from Dundalk, Ireland. 8:17 to go. Free throw, no good. Too strong from Okafor. Shooting is something that he's probably got to work on as he continues to develop as a player. Just a 38.9% field goal percentage last year at Cal. He was 100% from free throw last year through 9 games. Second one doesn't go. Mims gets the rebound for Idaho, and a foul is called 98 feet from the basket on Lawan Watts. And that's just something you get furious about. David Riley talking to the assistant coaches because he's confused at why you would reach for something like that so far away from the basket. 8:16 left in the game, and it's a 17-point game. You can't give him any free points, so it's 2 shots for Mims. The North Idaho College transfer, he was the leading scorer returning, misses the first free throw. Played last year for Idaho, had a really good season, averaged 11 points, 7 rebounds. Idaho in a 17-point deficit. Mims, second free throw, off the front of the rim, and Lawan Watts gets the rebound. Up ahead to Parker Garrett, crosses half court. Back to Lawan Watts. Over to Price. Back cut by Calmeese, and it hits Mitchell in the face, and he dives for it, saves it, back to Linhart, and it's into the hands of Brickner for the Vandals. Crosses over, alley-oop to Mims, over the top of Okafor. It was a layup, not quite a dunk, but still a great play from Mims, and it's 15 is the lead for Washington State. Calmeese on the far side, entry pass to Watts against Brickner. Back cut again from Calmeese, doesn't get it to him that time. Garrett cycles it to Calmeese, 3-ball from the corner, rattles in and out, and a foul is called. And they're going to review this one again. What a night by the refs tonight. A lot of reviews, a lot of double checking. A foul was called for a grab around the arm. I'm The original call was on Lawan Watts, I believe, because an Idaho player ended up on the ground. Linhart ended up on the ground. There's been a lot of confusion tonight from the refs.
And unfortunately, fouls like that are kind of what takes away from the fun of basketball. And again, just to emphasize that this is a contact sport, and it's kind of frustrating as a viewer to watch your players get fouled when they make contact in a contact sport.
Yeah.
So
the fouls tonight, there's been 22 on Washington State and 15 on Idaho. That's a lot of fouls in a game there's been a lot of hostility out there, and both teams want to win this one. It's the battle of the border. Idaho, University is only 5 minutes away from Washington State, so both of these teams know each other, and they probably see each other driving past to go to the store every day. So
I know I do.
Yeah, and when there's a game that was that tight in the first half with a team like Idaho that probably shouldn't be that close with Washington State, it gets a little aggressive. And the refs have tried to calm it down, but also sometimes when you call a lot of fouls, both teams just get frustrated, and you end up with a worse situation than you had before. So they're going to confer with both coaches.
And especially when it's fouls like a grab of the arm or bumping into him on accident and charging when you step forward. It's just little things like that where the players are just like, "What are you talking about?" And it's what gets the coaches fired up. Maybe makes them make some irrational decisions. I'm not sure what exactly is going through those head coaches' heads right now, but I think because of those fouls, they've allotted too many points to Idaho, and they've taken away from, seconds on the clock when they're at the free throw line that they could be doing something else, taking away momentum. But yeah, I feel like fouls like that are really a way to just drain a team of any excitedness they had or any electricity that the crowd's feeling.
The official ruling as of now is a personal foul on Price for Washington State. They are looking to see most likely if it was something extra, and we'll get the ruling. Or maybe not. They haven't been very good about telling everybody in the crowd what's going on tonight. They've been secretive with their calls, but my guess is that it'll just be 2 shots. So it'll be 2 shots. So they probably, let's see. It'll be 2 shots for Linhart. It was upgraded most likely to a flagrant 1 where they'll get 2 shots and the ball. All the players are at half court. Linhart knocks down both. 67-54, 13-point lead for Washington State, and Idaho will get the ball again. So Price picks up the foul. 7:34 to go. 13-point lead, Washington State. Linhart to inbound. Gets it to Mitchell. Calmes picks him up full court. Clapper's still out there for Idaho. Same with Juice Mims, their best player. They're looking to get it to him now against Okafor. Bounce pass, cross court to Linhart. His shot doesn't go. Lawan Watts gets the rebound quickly up ahead to Garrett's. Back to Calmes. Over to Price. To Lawan Watts on the left wing. Bounce pass to Price at the top of the key. Back cut, Calmes ends up with it at the rim, and another and one flexing on him every time. Nate Calmes.
Yeah, and we talked about how important those cut routes were earlier in the game, especially when you got to cut through a defense like Idaho's. They play in vandal fashion, aggressive and gritty and in your face. And Calmes is able to do that because he's so quick and so athletic, and he's significantly smaller than some of these guys that are protecting the hoop.
Calmes, the leading scorer tonight for Washington State. 15 points for the Washington transfer. Started his career at Lamar. Danced on the logo last year to much of the Washington State fans' displeasure, but now he's scoring points for Washington State. Knocks down the free throw. 16-point lead for Washington State. 7:06 to go. Calmes is 1 for 6 from 3-point range and just 1 of 2 from the free throw line. He made his living on Friday from the free throw line with his 3 and 1s, and I think he ended up with 11 free throws. Mitchell for Idaho brings it over the timeline inside the paint. Flips it to Mims. Cross court to Gonzalez in the corner. His 3 off the iron. Full court pass up ahead. Lawan Watts tracks it down. Sends it back to Eric Strupp, and it's an over and back. Wild sequence. Eric Strupp threw it full length of the court. Watts threw it way back to him, and it was too much, and a turnover for Washington State.
Yeah, and when we talk about, fouls costing points, those are the real things that cost points because, when you head to the stripe, no time ticks off the clock, nothing there. But that's the kind of thing that can overturn a game real quick.
6:40 remains in the second half. 16-point lead for Washington State. Brickner to Linhart, bouncing off Eric Strupp, and he gets the reverse layup to go. 70-56. Eric Strupp's three in transition is no good. Mims gets the rebound. 14-point advantage for the Cougs. Approaching 6 to go. Brickner, wide open three. Splash, and Idaho cuts it to 11. Things can change in a heartbeat with a good shooting performance from Idaho tonight. 39 from the field, 25 from three, right around their averages. Juan Watts, and a foul off the ball on Eric Strupp. He was trying to get open.
Wow.
And once again, a offensive foul on Washington State. It will not result in free throws. It will be a inbound for Idaho. Only free throws awarded on defensive fouls. Linhart to inbound. Brickner, who got the start tonight, didn't start the first two games, had 20 in their first game, only 2 against UC Davis. Drives inside on Coward, who has 4 fouls back into the game with just 2 points, and he gets the block on Brickner. Coward to the corner, working on Gonzalez, has to be careful inside. Good pass to Okafor, going up against Mims, and he gets the roll. 72-59, 5.5 to go. Washington State extends the lead to 13. Watts playing defense with his hands tied behind his back, trying not to get a foul. Mitchell at the top of the key, crosses over, pulls up, floater, no good, tapped out, and Lawan Watts gets the rebound. Washington State holding on to a 13-point lead. Lawan at the top of the key, looking for Coward, doesn't have it. Eric Strupp over to Isaiah Watts on the left side. Lawan Watts back to Eric Strupp. Isaiah Watts top of the key, left-hand dribble, pull-up J is good, and an and one jumper, Isaiah Watts. Just 4 fouls on Isaiah Watts and only 6 points tonight. He's 3 of 8 from the field. It's been a sluggish game for most of the stars from Washington State. Isaiah Watts and Cedric Coward, the 2 best players, most likely, 2 highest leading scorers on the team, and they both have less than 10 points tonight. Watts at the free throw line. Was a member of that team last year that went to the second round of the tournament. Knocks down the free throw. 75-59. 5 minutes to go. Idaho trying to stay in this one. Brickner over half court. Drives with his right and almost slammed it over Coward. But another great contest by Coward, and a blocking foul is called on Gonzalez as Isaiah Watts was charging towards the rim. Cedric Coward is not cowardly.
No, and I remember reading that, and then when I saw his name for the first time, I went and watched his highlights, and I said, how ironic is that?
Yep.
Most aggressive man I've ever seen. I mean, he goes down every time, and I think it's kind of a trade-off. Do you want to get fouled, or do you want to make huge plays like that? And I think it's 2 sides of the same coin. You just got to pick what you think's better for your team.
Watts' free throw rolls in, so he'll get an extra one. Cedric Coward got dunked on twice against Bradley, and he's been involved in a lot of plays that have almost been posters tonight, but he's got the better of the Vandals so far tonight. Watts' second free throw goes, 77-59. Watts up to 8 points. Again, playing defense with hands behind his back. There's been a lot of fouls tonight. Anderson into the game for Idaho. To Brickner at the top of the key. With the left hand, crosses over to the right. He has Okafor on him. That's a mismatch. Kicks it out to Gonzalez. Inside to Rose against Price. Backs him down on the far block. Spins, goes up, and a foul called on Price, and Rose will go to the line for 2.
Price with his 3rd foul, I believe, of the night.
Yeah, that'll be his 3rd. And 24 fouls on Washington State. That is a lot of fouls. 77-59, 18-point lead for Washington State. Rose at the free throw line.
Yeah, we talked about extending those percentages a little bit. Wazoo now shooting 49% compared to Idaho's 37.
Rose knocks it down, 77-60. Yeah, it's been a pretty up and down game for both teams shooting the ball. Sometimes there's been hot streaks, cold streaks, everything in between.
Absolutely inconsistent for shooting, for sure.
Second free throw for Rose is good. Cuts the lead to 16 for Washington State. Coward gets the inbound. Just 2 points on the night, 4 fouls for Washington State's best player. Coward at the top of the key. Entry pass to Price, and it bounced pass to Okafor, and the ball was kicked. So Washington State will get the ball on the baseline for the inbounds play. 77-61, 4:20 to go. The media timeout under 4 will be a good breather for both teams. It's been a pretty hot pace so far in the second half. Price to inbound, quickly to Coward. Stevens, the Oregon State transfer, on him. Coward leans in, kicks it to Okafor at the top of the key. Calmes gets the handoff. Back to Okafor. Wide open slam! Okafor with wide open spaces all night, making the Vandals pay. 79-61, 4 minutes to go. Next stoppage will be a timeout. Anderson hits Rose. His three-pointer on the way off, and a rebound by Coward. Washington State in control of this one. They can go up by 20-plus on this possession. Coward spinning on Stevens. Has it poked away and a foul called. Coward will go to the free throw line for 2, and the action returns. So immediate timeout. Norma, this has been a good second half for Washington State, starting to pull away from Idaho.
Yeah, I mean, I'd really argue that tonight it's the battle of the big men down there. I think that Washington State is struggling to find a definitive and consistent shooter. Obviously, Nate Calmes has been really improving his shooting game in the second part of tonight's matchup. But, I mean, for that first half of the game, I mean, he was really inconsistent, not very impressive. And I think they're trying to figure out who their best guards are. And right now, the people putting up all those points are the big men, those huge dunks, those momentum plays, blocks, things like that. And, the trade-off we talked about with fouls. And when it comes to momentum, I really think it's worth it, especially if Idaho is really struggling at the free throw line. So, I think tonight it's really been about Okafor. It's been about Rose. It's been about, Coward down in the paint. I mean, getting gritty, getting chippy with each other. It's been a real fun game to watch.
Yeah, as a team, Idaho coming into tonight, 66.7% free throw shooting. Tonight they have 67% free throws. They're 14 of 21, so just 2/3 on the night. And that's a lot of points that they leave on the board. That's 7.
Yep.
Washington State on the other side, 10 of 16 from the free throw line. They had 33 free throws against Bradley. There was a lot of opportunities on shooting fouls. Tonight's been a lot of fouls off the ball, ticky-tack, hand checks.
Yep.
Most of the fouls have come on guys that aren't involved in the play, and there's just been a lot of intensity trying to get better position on the blocks. There's been rebounding fouls. Okafor's had a few fouls with the push in the back. Coward's not had a good night, but Washington State's still sitting up 18. I think that's something really important, is that Coward only has 2 points tonight. He's only shot the ball 3 times, yet Washington State still has 79 points.
Yeah, not only that, but I mean, Coward being one of their best players, we talked before the second half started about how, there was concern about that core 4 not performing the way they were supposed to. But I appreciate the diversity of people scoring points tonight on Washington State's side of the ball. They're sharing the love. LeJean Watts, 14 points, and he was leading the team for a while with most points scored. So I appreciate that they've got multiple men out there putting up points, and they're kind of all developing their skills as a team and not just relying on 1 or 2 guys.
Final stretch of this game, Washington State has an 18-point advantage, 3:43 to go, 79-61. Coward to the free throw line, averaging 20.5 points on the season, 86% free throw shooter. First free throw on the way is good. So Coward has 3 points. He started at D3 Willamette in Oregon, then transferred to Eastern Washington and found himself on the campus of Washington State, and he has 4 points tonight after that free throw goes in. 81-61, 20-point lead for Washington State. Score looks better than the game has been. Anderson over half court. 3.5 to go. Idaho still fighting. Mims at the top of the key. To Anderson on the far side. Cuts it with the left hand. Back to Murris. His three-pointer on the way. No good. Tapped out. Right back to Murris. Gets his own miss. His three-pointer again on the way. No good. Isaiah Watts rebounds. Wants to slow things down. Gets it to Calmise over the half-court stripe. Entry pass to Lawan Watts. Working on Murris. Spins to the right hand. Easy two for Washington State. 83-61 the score. 3 minutes to go. Cougars up 22. They have pulled away in this second half. Mims at the top of the key with Price on him. Back cut by Gonzalez. Wide open at the rim. 2 more for Idaho, and they cut the lead to 20. 2:45 to go. Coward just 4 points tonight. But Washington State has rallied. Price, top of the key. Wide open three, and he pumps his fist. It's in. 86-63. Ethan Price. Give him 9 points on the night. Lawan Watts 16. Nate Calmise 16. Gonzalez with Watts on him. Driving to the cup, and Watts lets him go. And he scores 2. 86-65. 2:15 remaining. Substitutes lining up at the scores table. Calmise ducks inside over Stevens. Has 2. Give him 18 on the night. 88-65. 2 minutes to go. Washington State. Good second half performance. It was a rocky start, but they have finished strong. They've been the better team tonight. Price denies Stevens the entry pass, and he's going coast to coast, and he's blocked from behind by Stevens, and they're going to call an intentional foul because Stevens wasn't happy about it. Price had Calmise wide open at the rim, but chose to take it himself.
Yeah, and it looks like Watts might have been holding his teammate back there a little bit, prevent a bit of a melee on the court.
Yeah, they're going to review it for a intentional, possible flagrant foul. It was a contested shot for sure, but it's just a matter of if he came down with his arm from a 90-degree angle down onto Price's head. It looked pretty aggressive from up here, and I would imagine that they'll probably chalk this up, upgrade this to either a flagrant or an intentional foul just to keep things under control. With only 1:41 to go, you don't want anything to spiral out of control, especially this early in the season with so much time to develop and to improve in a game that's at this point pretty much over. 88-65 is the score. 1:41 to go. The refs at the monitor. They've been there a lot tonight. They seem to like to watch the play over again, but they seem to have made their mind up. They're just confirming with each other at this point.
I think they just really like their job, Davis. I think they just really enjoy being here tonight. Sending it as long as they possibly can.
Yeah. They don't want to leave.
No. Who would, right?
No. It's a great environment in Beasley. It's cold outside. Why would you want to leave?
Yeah, exactly. Sunset at 4 p.m. Might as well go inside.
Yeah. So just a common foul. A little bit surprising. But Stevens will smile it off, and Price will go to the free throw line.
Yeah, a little bit surprised that they just called that a common foul, considering they've been pretty ginger on those charging fouls all night. But, I mean, Price is a big man, He can handle himself. I guess that might be their argument.
Yeah.
But
Price will go to the free throw line to shoot 2. He was Big Sky's second team all-conference last year. He represented England at the U18 Euro Championships, his native country. And first free throw goes down, 89-65.
5 for 5 on the night for free throws for Price.
And a lot of subs coming and going. Tomas Thrasterson, who got his first career buckets on Friday for 3, as well as Titus Uraut, great name, for Idaho, was checked into the game, as well as Ewan Steele from Canada. Price, second free throw. Okafor will check in if he makes it. And he does. So Price will head to the bench with a great night. from Ethan Price. He had 8 rebounds, 10 points. Good stat line from Ethan Price. Eric Stripp still in the game. Linhart to inbound for Idaho, and a timeout is called. They couldn't get it inbounded, and that's exciting to see as the coaching staff applauding all the players that are into the game. And for the 3rd straight game, Washington State has reached the 90-point mark. This early in the season to have that many points is very impressive, as well as their defense has kind of locked in these last 2 games. They gave up 92 points to Portland State. They gave up they've only given up 65 to Idaho tonight. What have you seen from the defense that's been kind of different?
Yeah, I think other than some of what I would say are Idaho's mistakes on what they're allowing to happen on Washington State offense, I think they're kind of clicking in their head now that they got to get offensive rebounds, and they can actually turn those rebounds into points as long as they crash underneath. I feel like in the first half of the game, they're halfway down the court when the ball's still bouncing off the glass, but now they're really sticking underneath it, and they might trade off a foul or two, but they are taking that chance to put up 2 more points.
Just a minute and a half to go, 90-65 the score. Washington State has the lead. Steele, dribble, handoff to Murris. Over to Anderson, back to Murris. To Year out on the right side. At the 3-point arc. Inside to the free throw line to Linhart. Back to Year out for 3. Off the back of the rim. Tapped out by Linhart. And that'll be a Washington State possession. Clapper will come back into the game. And they'll sub out Murris, who ends the day with just 7 points. 2 for 6 from the field.
Yeah.
Garrett's to inbound to Wilson. 1:14 to go. Washington State, the last 2 games, have tried late to get to 100 points. We'll see if they do so tonight. Eric Stripp to Thrasterson. That's where he hit his 3 on the far right side. Eric Stripp at the top of the key. Dribble handoff to Wilson. Finds Thrasterson on the far side. 9 to shoot. Bounce pass inside to Okafor against Steele. To a wide open Wilson. Layup doesn't go. He missed it. And Linhart pulls down the rebound. 40 seconds to go. Anderson brings it over half court. 90-65. Washington State has ran away with it in the second half. It was a close first half, but Washington State put the gas on and didn't take their foot off the pedal. Anderson gets bumped by Thrasterson, and a foul is called with just 26.7 seconds to go. So Tomas Thrasterson, that was his first official stat on Friday as a college player, was a foul, and so he wanted to follow that up with another foul.
He's making a name for himself. I like it.
Yeah. Anderson will go to the free throw line. Anderson played 3 years at Whitworth, where head coach David Riley for the Washington State Cougars played in his playing days. Anderson knocks down the free throw. He was the Northwestern Conference MVP and all NWAC first team last year. He scored over 400 points at Whitworth. 90-66, second free throw on the way, good. That's 90-77, 26 seconds to go. Inbound to Garrett, and he will hold it until the time runs out. Fans have started to head towards the exits, as it will be a 23-point win for Washington State. And another win. They'll go to 3-0 on the year. Good start for a fresh squad of Washington State Cougars. Just 2 players from last year's team and only 1 player that earned a letter. The time will slowly tick away, and that's it. 90-67 is the final score. Washington State wins the 279th Battle of the Border against the Idaho Vandals. It was not a great night from the starting 5 in the first half. Coward didn't have his best performance, but they still score over 90 points. Every game this year has been over 90, and they hold Idaho to just 67 points. Norma, quick reaction to this game, and a look forward to the future for this Washington State basketball team.
Yeah, I would say that this is a game that, it's not I would argue that's not super impressive that they won. It's how they won. This was a game that Washington State was expected to win, that they needed to win. It would definitely be a fluke in their basketball program if they didn't. But I think pulling away and winning by 23 is a solid performance for the Cougs. We talked, before the beginning of the second half, we were a little concerned about how low scoring of a game it was. I believe going into halftime, it was about 50 points, 45 to 50 points for the Cougs. And we had discussed earlier that we wanted to see another 100-point game from them. And they're right up there. They're putting up the numbers to be a real contender, like you said, above 5th place, what they were projected for the West Coast Conference rankings before the season started. Obviously, it's too close to tell right now. We haven't really had any of those conference matchups yet to get those rankings going. But I want to emphasize again, the Cougs found holes in Idaho's offense. So they shot 37% from the field and 21% from the three-point line, and they're 5 for 24 from the three. And I just think that's not acceptable from a team on offense. And then Washington State comes in 52% from the field, 34 for 66. So I really think that because those teams were so gritty on defense, they had to come up on offense and put up some numbers, or there just wasn't going to be like any outcome to this game. And I think Washington State, just ended up pulling away with those numbers.
It was a slow start, but a strong finish for Washington State. 90-67 victory. The Cougars will travel to Illinois and play Iowa on November 15th. That's Iowa of the Big Ten. They'll play in the John Deere Quad City Hoops Showdown.
Yep.
And then they'll come back to Beasley on November 18th against Northern Colorado. Yeah. So Washington State gets to be 3-0, and Idaho will fall to 1-2 on the year. But they played a good first half. They just ran out of steam, and Washington State ends up pulling away. The score looks a lot better than the game was. 90-67 is the final score. Any last thoughts, Norma?
Yeah, I mean, make sure to check out for those look out for those Cougs on the road next week. It's their first away game of the season and the first time that they've met with Iowa since 1963. So somewhat of a historic game. Then they go straight into tournament play, see how they do there, maybe low on energy, not a great night of sleep in a hotel, Make sure to go and support your Cougs, see how they do against Iowa. They'll be back home the week after for another exciting home game in Beasley.
From KUGR, Norma Fulwiler, I'm Davis Hagen. It's a 90-67 win for Washington State. They moved to 3-0 on the year. Thank you so much for listening, and hope you have a great rest of your week.